Hi. Uh, I'm going to try to run over the various elements of financing a house acquisition, okay? So this is going to basically, the name of this one's going to be Project Financing for Investment Properties. And this is going to be the sources of our monies. And this is going to be the uses of our money, when and where it's going to be used. So in the first one, we are going to basically need money to acquire or acquisition plus rehab. And that's going to come from a hard money loan or private money. Doesn't really matter. And then from here, basically, we're actually going to go to closing. And in some cases, and this isn't always, okay, so I'm going to put a bracket around it. There's going to be transitional money that might be necessary to actually close the deal. And it's transition, so it's going from one source of money to another source of money. But this is basically for this, and this is basically for this, and this may or may not be used, okay? And then once we basically get the house and we close it, and then we move a tenant into it, occupied, we can get a DSCR loan. A debt service coverage ratio loan. And the purpose of the debt service coverage ratio is that it repays everything above. It repays both of these loans, or this loan if this one doesn't exist. So it pays all of that. Okay, the criteria for this is they generally say you want to have, they will give you about 80% of the appraised value of the home. Okay? 80% of that. So after you do the rehab, you should add value to your property based on the lower price that you have acquired it. Pardon me. All right, let me see if I can get straight. You should basically, for this, so if you buy this right and you rehab it right, you should add at least 20%, at which time when you drop a tenant in it, as long as this is covered, you basically have embedded your 20% equity in the home. And this is self, you. And that basically came up here when you bought it right and you basically rehabbed it. That gives you the 20%. So you don't have to really put a lot of money out of your pocket to do this once you get it occupied. So the DSCR loan repays any hard money loan that was necessary for the acquisition and then the rehab. And then let's just say after 2 years, you want to owner occupy it. Okay, and what you do here is now, because you can't occupy it with a debt service coverage ratio loan, they're dependent on the rent paying the mortgage price. So we repay that with an FHA loan and or a conventional loan. Okay? And that is regardless of if we have owner financing or anything. This is how the waterfall would really go. And depending on how we actually do it, the seller financing can come in at different levels, but it's normally right here. So that reduces the cost of your hard money loan, which are generally, they could be up to around 12%. Okay, so that gives you an overview of how that is. These are the uses of the monies, and these are the sources. And every time, so it starts as a hard money loan and a transitional loan. This is optional, may not always happen, but basically you get the project closed, you put a tenant in it, you get a DSCR loan, and that pays everything above. So now the only loan you have is the DSCR loan. And it's going to be valued at about 80% of the appraised value. And then once you choose to occupy it, and it doesn't have to be 2 years, it's just any time after 1 year, then you can apply, I think, for a FHA loan or a conventional loan. All right. That's it. Hope that helps.